Hello viewers, welcome to the session of CodersTrust. I am Dark Mahmood here for conducting today's session and I hope you are well both physically and mentally. Today's topic is about something introduction to JavaScript and some how to write JavaScript basic code, syntax and understanding the variable of JavaScript and playing with some conditional statements and operator with JavaScript. I hope you will stay here till the end and enjoy the session. If you have any problem to see my screen or to listen my voice, you can just comment here. If you are logged in with your Gmail account, you can just comment here, and I will check your comment real only. Before starting the session, I just want to show something about the settings, which is important for the screen resolution. Because if your settings is not set properly, in that case, actually, you will not see my screen properly. So just click on the settings icon here and choose the quality option and choose 360, 480, or 720, not 240 or 144. Because those are for low resolution. So please just ensure that you are selecting more than 360 or more than 360p here. Okay, I hope you will do the settings properly. Now I'm going to the main session, which is about the JavaScript. So first one, I want to introduce what is actually JavaScript. JavaScript basically cross-platform object-oriented scripting language, and it is the small and lightweight language, and it runs basically in the browser. I don't need any other server, like the server side programming language, the PHP or something like that. One ASP. We don't need the server here. So just it needs a browser. That's enough to run a JavaScript code. And recently, the JavaScript has been more popular because actually many framework are well-known framework like the Ember.js, AngularJS actually has been popular, and I hope actually those will dominate for the next few years. So the core those are actually based on the JavaScript and the object-oriented concept of the JavaScript here. The recent version of the JavaScript is ES6 or ECMAScript script 6, and which is released in the last year. And before that, there are the ECMAScript 4 here, because 5 is not actually here. So from the 4 and now it is the 6, and for it is just the recent. That means the all the browser is still not supporting those feature of the ES6 is still, but mostly many of the features already available in the recent browser. So what are the advantages actually of the JavaScript? The basic are the speed, because it's the client side, so we don't need to wait for server response. So it's just running quickly here in the browser. And the simplicity is very simple to learn and implement. Don't need many extra things to set here to an extra environment. And finally, the versatility, that means it is very versatile. It can communicate with other languages like the PHP or ASP, the other server side languages, and mostly now in the API, mostly the JSON data is provided. That means all those are based on the JS or JavaScript here. And why to write the JavaScript code? Basically, we can write in the HTML file. Also, we can use separate JS file. And for the practice, even we can use the browser console. If we don't need to save the file, we just want to run something and see the output. So we can just test it in the browser console also. And so though the basic things is a script language, because for just few lines of code we can use this tag in the HTML file, but for the larger script or the independent plugin we have to use the separate JS file. And I will show actually we'll use the actually script tag for today's session because we are not creating any large script here. Okay, and what about the basic syntax of the JavaScript? Each statement actually should be end with the semicolon. That means whenever we complete a statement or any operation, we have to and close with the semicolon. Though some browser actually automatically identify or will not throw any error, but it is not a good practice to avoid this semicolon mistakenly here. And the most important thing is the JavaScript is case sensitive. That means you cannot actually mix up the cases for the variable name or function name. It will actually occur the some error here. So you have to be careful whenever you're declaring the variable or function names and make those are actually the perfect case that we are using everywhere in the script. And there's another important thing, which is the position of the JS code in our HTML file may impact the loading speed of our web page. Okay. Before that, I'm just checking that you are watching properly here. Well, I think everything is going fine. Well, so the position of the JS code is important because we can write the JS code here in the head, within the head tag, or also in the body tag. The difference is that when you are using this head tag, so if the JS file is very large, for example, we are using many JavaScript plugin like here, in that case actually it will impact our web page. That means it will decrease the loading speed and make the users waiting for a long time. So it is highly recommended to use the script in the body and the later part of this body tag here. So let me check here. This is script here, just testing something. The alerting hi, and within the body, just I'm using something like welcome. So let's test it now. So you can see this high, still the page is loading and there is no content in the background. You can see here. That means when you're clicking the OK, that means the welcome is loaded actually. But when we are just keeping those script at the end, that means just before ending the body tag here. So let's check now. You can see though the alert is showing but the welcome is already loaded. That means the pages is already loaded and the JavaScript is loaded later, so user don't need to be wait for the JavaScript loading. User already can see the content, so it is better. That means user are not actually feeling the boring that loading the pages and no content is showing. But it is better when you are including the JS file later. That means the just before the ending tag of the bodies. Then in that case, actually the whole other content actually will be loaded first. So that means the user can see those content. And meanwhile, the other JS will be loaded slowly. So it will not actually make the user just waiting for a long time. Well, so now I will introduce about the variable. Actually, variable means keeping something a value in a variable for just the runtime of our program. That means it will store the program until we are run the code here. That means after running the code execution of the program script, the variable actually will be just banished here. So it is just for our operation in the our code here. So it is not actually saving permanently, just temporarily. It is containing some value here. So there are basically three types, which are string. That means that there are some plain text. You can see it will be within the quotation here. And the second one is the number, so it can be just an integer number or a float or double number. And the final one is the boolean actually it for true or false. So there are just two values here, either it should be true or false, no other value. So actually it is checked when we are using some condition. There should be just two condition, either true or false. In that case, actually you can use the boolean variable. Okay, and I'll show you some use of the variable in later part of this our session. Well, there's some condition. So condition statement means actually when some condition is matched, then do something, or we can set else, do other thing like that. So we can just declare a variable here, like variable a equal 1, and we are checking that if a equal 1, document dot write 1, else we just want to write something else like document dot write. Document or write is actually used for writing something in our document here. So we'll show the output. This is can be like other. So let's run the code here. You can see this is now 1 because our value is 1. That means it is just checking the condition whether a is equal to 1. That means it should be run, otherwise this should be run here. And there are some other things here for this operator, actually, which is called the comparison operator. That means we are checking this using this equal, this double equal sign. That means the value of the a is equal or not equal 1. So we are checking using this double equal here. But for the first one, this equal actually assigning the value. So we are assigning the value 1 to the variable 1, sorry, variable a, and later we are just checking whether a equal to 1. If we make it 2, so it should show the other. So you can see it and showing the other because it is not matched. It's not equal to 2 here. Well, there are another things which is interesting. This the triple equal, not the double equality, which is free comparison here. So let's check now triple and make it like on here. It's just a string, not a number. So just check it here. You can see it is other, though we are putting the 1. Well, I'm just making the double equal again. So now it is 1. You can see though it is 1 and 1. So when we are using the double equal, it is showing it is true. That means when actually you are using the double equal, it is checking the value, not the type of the variable or value here. So though it is the number, but here we are using the string, but the value is same. That means this is the 1, also 1. So it is true because we are using the double equal. But when we are using the triple, that means the string equal, in that case actually the one should have the same type and the same value. That means the it is not the same type now, though the value is one, but the type is different because it is the number and it is the string. So let's check now. You can see this is the other because it is strictly compared. So strict when it is strict comparison, so it should be both matched. That means the type of the value and the value of the number. So it should be either it should be number or it should be string here. So both should be same here. So if I'm matching like that, one both are string here. So you can see it is now true. That means it's showing the one here. So it is the basic difference between the double equal and the triple equal. That means the strict comparison and equality. And this is the not equal. That means just the opposite of the equal. So if it is not true, so it should show here. It's a greater than. That means if the value is greater than or less than, or equal greater than or equal less, or less than or equal. There are many conditions here, so it can be just like there. So there are some value like 20. So if it's is less than 20, So it should show is like then less than 20, 21 actually, and other is greater than 20 here. So it is less than 20, but when we make this like this 21, so we can actually make like this 21. That means it is now less than or equal. So if we make it 20 or 21, actually both will work because we are checking whether it is less than or it is equal. So if it is less than or if it is equal, then it is true and will run. Otherwise, there is one will run here. Well, and also you can use the multiple condition here using the logical operator. You can say this is the ampersand of the and sign and this is the or here. So we can use this like there are two conditions. For example, it is less than 21 and also we can make another condition like is a mod 2. That means we are checking whether it is even or odd here to equal 0. That means it if it is less than 21 and if it is more even, then it should show this even and 20. And if not, so it should show something this other. You can see now it is 20 here, and we are checking whether a is less than 21. That means 20 is less than 21. Well, it is satisfied, but you can see this a mod 2. That means the 20 mod 2 equals 0. So also it is satisfying because 20 is even. So mod 2 means actually it should be 0 here. So it is now even and 20. But when we make it like 1 and make it the odd, so you can see it is other because though it is less than 21, but it is not 20 mod 2 is not equal actually 1 here. So we can use the multiple condition just using this and sign, and when you are using the and sign you have to make sure that both are actually satisfied here. That means both condition is true. If one is not is true, one is false, it will not run this one and it will go for the else condition here. But for the or is the or sign here, but when you are using the or, if any of this one true, so it will run here. That means if it is true or it is true, so you can say 20 is the first one is true, though the second one is not true, so but it will run the first one. You can say it's order 20 b, though the 20 mod 2 not equal to 1, that means it is false, but it is true. So if one of them is true or both are true, then it will run. Otherwise it will go for the else condition here. Okay, so this about the logical operators, and there are some other operators. The assignment, we have already used the assignment operator. That means this is the assigning some value into our variable a. Also there are some other things like that, plus equal or minus equal. So let's check now. A plus equal 5. That means the value of a is increased by 5. That means 20 plus 5. It is now the value of the a is now 25. So we can check it here. Okay. So it is now 25 here. So actually it is the same as if you write here like a equal a plus 5. That's the same here. So it just a equal that means the current value of a is increased by 5. So you can just write it in this way shortly. So minus equals just the opposite. That means it will a equal a minus 5. That means it will be 15 here. And if it is the multiple, this is just a into 5. That means that 20 into 5 is will be 100, and divide 5, so it should be 4 here. And finally the mod, just the mod value of the would be stored here. And there are some other arithmetic operators. These are simple algebraic operation like the plus, minus, multiple, divide, modulus. And finally there are two. This called the increment, and this is the decrement. Increment means actually it is just incremented by the value 1. So this increment. And decrement means actually it is decreased by the value 1 here. So you can see it is just 21 just by the 1. So it can we also run like that, plus equal to 1, just same as this one. So this plus plus, this called increment here. Well, and there you can see comparison and the logical operator. Also, there is some concatenation string method here. For example, you want to add two string here like that, something that variable. So what it is doing, just adding to a string here, the hello world. So we can just write this text here. It's not actually the mathematical adding, it's just this string adding here. You can use just the hello world here. It is using the string concatenation, but if you use the number, it should show the number here. But for the number, the JavaScript not directly treat all the number. We have to make the percent sometimes, because you need to convert the number into the real number for calculation here. Well, let me check if you have any questions, or if you're feeling just boring here. Well, JavaScript basically are interesting if you can understand the logical flow of this JavaScript code here. There are many things to do here with the JavaScript here. And in other session, I'll try to show something about this events, like the click events on change events. Both actually those are basically used in our practical implementation of the JavaScript. And there are some other things like the function. That means we can make a simple calculator using the function here. We can pass some value. That means we can use the reusable code here for many times. So just using calling the function many times. So I'm just showing this one as example here. So for just I like to just organize the code because I don't like the mess of code anymore here. This is the right number. Set number is the function, and in the function we are just passing the parameter x and y, and it is taking the value x and y, and it is just checking it the jet and writing this one here jet. So the value should be the 5 plus 6, it should be 11 here. So you can just see here. Now we can call this function many times for with many other parameters like the 8, 6, 10, 6, 9, 6. So the value should be different here. So 11, 14, 16, 15 here. Because we didn't use any other space, so we can just need some other spaces here. Okay, so 11, 14, 16, 15. So those are the summation of those value. But if we use adding those for many times without using the functions, we have to declare a variable jet and keep the 5 and 6, and then document dot write again. And so that means for the four functions we had to actually write the 4 times all those things here. But using the function, we are just passing the variable and getting the result here, just using the reusing the code here. So this is very useful using the functions when we have many things actually reuse for the future. Well, so this our today's session, and just I tried to show actually something at the basic of the JavaScript who are novice and interested to start JavaScript. I think it can be useful here, and there are actually many things, many other stuff to do with the JavaScript. JavaScript is not just doing something; it is like the calculation I have showed that plus minus that not actually. There's many things to do like the changing the image or on select, or you have to do something like the validation. That means you don't have any value in your input box, but you want to force the user that he has to put some value in the input box. So we can actually force here using our the JavaScript. And JavaScript have other like the jQuery plugin, which is based on the JavaScript, and there are many actually jQuery plugins available for the sliders. You can see around the website in the world. Well, if you have any questions, you can just ask here. And meanwhile, I just want to say something about the CodersTrust. What actually CodersTrust is doing? Basically, CodersTrust is a Denmark-based company which is working in many countries already. Started from Bangladesh and now working in the Bhutan, Kosovo, Kenya, Malaysia also. And the main vision of CodersTrust providing the quality skill train up also to prepare for the global marketplaces. When the students will complete the course successfully, and they can actually work in the global marketplaces with the quality. So the coder is not only actually providing the train up, also preparing the students for the long run here. And there are some success stories already that the Coder Trust students started earning, and that's a very actually good news for the newcomers. There are some courses available for the coding, and there are some like the front end development and full stack development, and also the Android app development. And there are some soft skill that means like how to place bit, how to write a good proposal, and deal with clients. So everything actually will get support from the Coder Trust. And another big news is that the students when start working in the marketplaces get support from the Codatus expert team. If they face any problem in their project, or they are not doing something fixing, or doing have face problem in some advanced things, in that case where they can get support from the Codatus team. Also, the students who are actually just started the course and have a problem with their practice, or cannot understand properly, can get support from the team here, which are available almost 24/7 here. And if you have any other questions about the coder like the payment issues and the course schedule, the outline, and the venue, that means it can be actually offline, online, with both options. So you can get the details from just here in the chat option here. So you can get the answer from the chat here. I hope you'll check the details if you are interested actually to explore your skill in the web development area. Well, so I hope you have enjoyed the session, and if you have any other questions, you can just comment here. And whoever joined later, don't worry, you can see the whole session recorded in the same URL. So when I will complete the session, you can see the session from the beginning as recorded here. Also, you can comment here. I'll try to reply it later. Okay, so for today's session, take care. Goodbye. Good night here.